what's up? It's me, Vindy, everyone's favorite super lazy chapter reviewer here who only makes videos every 2 weeks. Back again with more chapter reviews. So, I'm in kind of a weird spot right now because I did record a chapter review last week and then I just ended up not. I didn't record a full thing. I recorded up through Haikyuu, but I hadn't slept in like 2 days and I shotgunned a Red Bull and then tried to record. And it did not work out well for me. I was kind of an insane lunatic. And so it was like really bad, and I definitely need to not do that in the future. So I stopped recording. I was like, I'll record it later, and then I never got around to recording it later. So I have like the introduction part where I go over comments in the poll, and so I'll just play that right before we get to One Piece this week as a because like that's actually my real reaction to like the poll and the comments and stuff. So I think that's the better version to use, as opposed to if I fake reacted to y'all being pieces of shit and voting we can't study your favorite chapter. I think using that's better because it's my, real reaction to it. So that's that. But I do have some things I want to say to start off this chapter review before we kind of get into the chapters to talk about, which is, if it's not clear, I've had some trouble doing these weekly. I think it's hard to start making videos and instantly try to go into making weekly content. And I've had some ideas, and I was talking to What the What last night about it. And I think what I'm going to try doing next week is I'm going to stream myself reading the chapters and then talking about them. And I'll start that at I don't even know. It'll be like next Sunday at noon. I'll start streaming. I'll read the chapters. We'll talk about it. And then I'll end the stream, or maybe keep the stream going a little bit, but then cut up just like the chapter review parts of it. So cut out me reading the chapter, just have the chapter review parts and upload that. And I think what that'll allow is it'll allow me to, one, stream more, and two, I think the big thing it allows is it gives me, because I put so much of my time for making that I can have to make videos, which I have more time right now because of the Wuhan, but I'm not really working to make videos because I'm being lazy and just enjoying my extended spring break right now. But I have all this energy to make videos sometimes, and it just all goes into the chapter review, and then I just don't really care too much to make other videos. And I think that if I can kind of get the chapter reviews out of the way in a more streamlined process, because they're reactionary, they don't need as much, that allows me more time to make other content. That being said, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. I need to try it out a little bit, see how it works. Obviously, I want feedback from y'all on it. But either way, next Sunday on twitch.tv/ no, it goes this way, so from here to here. So yeah, next Sunday, twitch.tv/VindyVondo, I'll be streaming my reading the chapters and talking about them. I'll answer some questions if y'all have any, and that'll go up as a chapter review. And if y'all don't like that, I can go back to doing them how I do now. If you do like that, I can do it that way. As it stands, it's been about a day since I read the chapters, and it's been a week since I read last week's chapters. So, as much as I would like to do a 2-for-1, I think I'm just going to do the new chapters because I don't really want to look back through all the old ones. If I remember anything from them, I will bring it up. But if I wanted to give a quick rundown, I really liked Black Clover actually last week. I liked everything except for the usual offenders, right? The we can't study. Which I was already mad about last week's and everything, but I'm even madder at this week's, so we'll talk about it, because that manga's terrible. But, We Can't Study, Samurai 8, and Agravity Boys were bad. I think everything else was fine, and then this week is kind of more of the same. I actually think the last 2 weeks have been some of my favorite weeks of Jump in a long, long while. I think everything's kind of slapping right now, and I'm really into it. Even Kimetsu, I was like, this week kind of bangs, kind of hitting hard. So we'll talk about it. But that being said, that was the main stuff I wanted to get out of the way here. So I would say let's just go right into One Piece. But again, I'm gonna play lunatic me talking about things, and I got more and more manic, because the problem was I was recording it, and it started fine. So you're probably like, that's fine. It started to get more and more manic as I went, and by the time I was on Haikyuu, I couldn't stick to one point, but I was making multiple points at the same time, because I was such an insane man after no sleep and all the Red Bull in my system. So I'll play the old stuff now, and then we'll hop into One Piece. So, hey, what's up, friends? It's me, Vindy Vondo, everyone's favorite chapter reviewer who needs to get a haircut. And hey, we got 300 subs, so you know what? I'm really happy about that. Also, about the intro, I just did that, basically. Ugh, I feel really gross for that shit. But I haven't, slept in, 2 days, and I need to record this at the very least. I would like to edit it, but I don't think I have the energy in me to do it. And, so I'm, tired and, delirious right now. And also, I just shotgunned a Red Bull, so I don't know what's gonna happen in this recording from here on out. It's uncharted territory for me. Ugh. Sorry, I'm trying to get over that Red Bull. That was gross. It was sugar-free, though, don't worry. Impossible to get diabetes from. Well, no, that's not true. People are gonna be like, that's not healthy for you. Yeah, Vindy, you need to take care of yourself. Fuck that shit, dog. That's the first energy drink I've had since 2018. So slow your rolls there, sirs. I can have a Red Bull every now and then. All right. God won't smite me down for having a Red Bull. But that's what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about my unhealthy habits in life. We're not here to talk about that. Because there's a much more pressing situation that needs to be discussed. Weekly Shonen Jump happened, as it does every week. And I want to talk about it, because I like Jump. It's good. Good. So, as always, I want to get through comments first, because comments are important, because I care about y'all a lot. Again, thank you guys for 300 subs. I appreciate it a lot. It means a lot to me. I appreciate the support. Dragon Ball video hit 400 views as well. That's really good. You guys seem to enjoy the newest chapter review. That's all really cool. I like that a lot. Fuck. So thank you guys so much for all that. I really appreciate all the support. So let's get into comments and then the poll, and then we can talk about the chapters and how good most of them were. Most of them. So first is a comment from What the What. Imagine stupid, shitty, we can't... I'm sorry. Let me take this back. From What the What. Imagine stupid, fucking, shitty, we can't study being able to completely end. Couldn't fucking be me. Okay. Oh, he said competently and not completely end. Look. We Can't Study is so terrible. And not only am I going to talk about it this week, but there will be a video in the next week on this channel about We Can't Study exclusively. So if you want to watch that, stay tuned, because that'll be an exciting time to be a Vindy fan. Speaking of Vindy fans, Tony Sharks left a comment. Shout out to y'all in Vindy's Rat Pack. I don't know if that's what I'm going to call y'all, but I appreciate, shout outs to y'all. If you want to be known as Vindy's Rat Pack, I don't give a shit anymore. This one was from the one in white where he said, Taishi Susui was only pretending to be retarded. Quote Vindy. He's not pretending anymore. There's no pretending in this man. Appo the Intellectual Octopus says, Fafner's gonna get a fire sword, calling that now. Wasn't the hardest thing to guess, but, you're right now. This week is probably the most I've enjoyed MHA in a while, which I'm glad, as it's been kind of losing me lately. I've been defending the final Kimetsu fight as best as I can, so I'm upset Gotoge had to do me like that. Lastly, I retract my comment from last time. Zipman doesn't even deserve an F anymore. And before I talk about the other... Well, so, okay. Kimetsu is... I don't know how I feel about it still. MHA is good. This week was also very good. But for Zipman, I also really like this dot comment, though. The Zipman chapter wasn't even that bad. The fight was kind of fun to read, but I think the stink of Chapter 11 is going to cloud my enjoyment of the series from now on. And I think that's exactly how I feel on it, where I don't think Zipman is terrible. Zipman had one terrible, awful, stinky doo-doo chapter, right? But because that chapter was so bad, it's, tainted the rest of the series for me, and I just, can't enjoy it. Does that make sense? I, can't enjoy this manga. Oh, my God. I'm, tweaking out. Okay. I can't enjoy this manga because of that chapter, and that... I just cannot care. It's fine, though. I don't care. Okay. those are all the comments. So let's talk now about the poll. So I need to have a conversation with y'all. I know I just said thank you for the support and I loved you, but why the fuck when I go to the poll do I see number 1, we can't study, followed by number 2, a Gravity boys? Are y'all joshing me, or are y'all? How dare you? How dare y'all? I'm offended. I am personally offended. Legitimately offended. I can't believe y'all would do this to me. How dare you treat me, your friend, like this? I call y'all friends in my intro every week, and you fucking do this to me? Not very kino behavior, I must say. After that, I don't even care. I don't even want to read the rest of the ranking. I'll go back and read them, but I don't want to exist on planet Earth. After that's MHA, and then Act Age, and then Dr. Stone, and then Mission Yozakura family, and then Black Clover, Chainsawman, Zipman, Undead Unluck, and Mashle, all are tied. So Kimetsu, Neverland, Jujutsu, Samurai 8, Mitama, and Guardian of the Witch didn't get a vote, which, fair. Fair. Wait, no, was last week the one where I gave Mitama my favorite chat? No. Yozakura was. Whatever. I don't even know where I am anymore. That being said, we're about to be in Wano, so let's talk about our first manga with One Piece. One Piece is good. So first of all, we're finally done with the flashback. We're back in present day. And we go back to, all the scabbards crossing the water on the boats. And we finally get to know who the traitor is. And it's Kanjuro, which is good. Like, there's a lot of stuff about Kanjuro being the traitor that's really good. And I haven't heard people complaining about it. And again, I feel like a lot of times when it comes to One Piece, I just don't have as much like baseline knowledge on the series because it's been so long since I read through most of it. And even with Wano, I feel a little like I don't remember everything as well as I should. But I definitely feel like Kanjuro being the traitor is like the best choice of all of the scabbards. He has like the least I would say Kanjuro had the least to do before. He was like the one that like I was probably least invested in, and so him being the traitor is cool. I like that like he has like a painting devil fruit and paints, but we thought he was like bad at drawing. Like there was like good setup for this to happen that makes a lot of sense. And I think that there's some good stuff. And I think my favorite part about Kanjuro being the traitor right now is that there's legitimate like good setup already for him to turn back to the good side, right? Like he was prepared to die with Odin. You even get the sense that like he doesn't even like he was kind of upset that they didn't catch him, and he isn't necessarily bad. And so I could see Kanjuro being turned into a good guy, and that being like really fucking good. So I like Kanjuro. I like this. I like the plotline of him being the traitor. It was really good. I think it's been set up well from my memory. I would have to reread Wano to know for sure, but I do think it's been set up pretty well, and I enjoyed, the twist a lot. Yeah, I enjoyed the twist a lot. Sometimes I feel weird calling just like a traitor thing a twist, especially when there's a traitor. It's just like, who is it? Like it would have been a twist if it was like, oh, it's fucking Kinemon. Like, that's a fucking twist, right? That's like, oh my god, you're eating my asshole out, right? And that also probably wouldn't be good. So, I like that Kanjuro as the traitor. I think it was a good choice among the... it's weird to say it's a good choice among the scabbards when he was probably made to be the traitor the whole time, but either way, I think that was that was like the best way I think the traitor plot could have been handled so far. And then I really wanted to talk about Chad, Luffy, Law, and what's his name? Captain Kidd, I think? Is that his name? Let me look it up. It is Captain Kidd. I'm so smart. So you get Luffy, Law, and Captain Kidd showing up, being fucking Chads. And look, they show up and you're like, oh my god, they're so cool. And then Luffy says just like one of the best goddamn lines, right? He's protect his friends. Don't pick on samurai in a rowboat. When you're at sea, you fight against pirates. And him, Law, and Kidd look so cool. It's so, and like I love the way that like I love when manga does this, right? Where we know it's Luffy, right? Because he blows it up. You see the scar. They make it obvious it's Luffy. And then you see Captain Kidd, and you know that's Captain Kidd. You see Law, you know, like you know that it's them. But then it does this thing where like we even see people react to Luffy, and it waits till the very end of the chapter to show Luffy's face. And I love when manga does that, where it's like we know what it's going to show us, but it waits that second to show it to make it better. Really fucking good. I like it a lot. So, like, big props to that shit. Fucking cool. I would say one of, like, the coolest moments One Piece has had in a hot minute. Like, oh my god, it was so good. I liked it. It had me, like, good. And then, we still get chapter next week, which I thought we weren't for a second, and I had a look. But good. The chapter before, I should say, I did like a lot. Again, not going to go into really specifics on it. It was a great chapter. There was a lot of things I really liked in that one as well. I am glad that the Odin flashback is over, so we can finally stop hearing terrible opinions of the Odin flashback was rushed. Or let me read this one that I had a friend send to me that I just wanted to read it. I'm not gonna, you know, I don't want to put this man on blast. Not gonna say the name of the person who had this opinion. I had a friend send this to me. So let me read it. Okay. 7 months later, finally back on track. We didn't need a 7-month-long filler arc to tell us something that seemed so obvious to begin with. Thanks for peeving off your fan. Blackbeard fights Ace. No filler arc. Shanks v. Whitebeard. No filler arc. What happened at Reverie? No filler arc. 2-year training of crew. Cover story arc. Bunch of useless information that you already told us. Characters we already know the fates of. 7-month-long filler arc that no one asked for and or could care about and really has zero impact on the story. You can skip reading it and not miss a thing. You really need to get your priorities straight, Oda. These last 7 months of the manga could easily just have been a cover story. On one hand, it's great you're extending the life of the series. On the other hand, new material that matters would have been nice. So, that was a real opinion that somebody actually has. And I think that is the biggest reason why people should stop reading manga. I shouldn't say that. That's rude. Basically, I think that people are dumb, and I'm glad we're finally out of the Odin flashback, because hopefully now we can get to a point where everyone's like, man, Wano's good. And people who are like, you know, dumb enough to say Skype is filler because their bounties don't go up, or the Odin arc was filler for some reason. Hopefully, finally, they can shut the fuck up and learn to use their brains before they talk online. I know that's never going to happen, but one can hope, right? So, that's kind of where we're at with that. But, either way, that's it for One Piece. So, let's talk about Goat Q. So, if you couldn't tell already by me calling it Goat Q, this chapter was so good. So let's start with one thing. And look, I haven't seen this personally, but I had someone tell me that people were upset that Nishinoya is not doing volleyball anymore. And that he's fishing. First of all, that just shows you misunderstood the entire chapter completely. But also, like, it goes deeper than that. Like, Nishinoya had already quit volleyball before. And sure, he liked volleyball. But he liked volleyball very clearly for the excitement. And for, like, the adventure of it. And for being with his friends, right? And that's not to say he didn't enjoy it or didn't try, but he didn't enjoy it for it being volleyball, the same way that Hinata or Kageyama or all these people we see playing professionally, you know, even like Tsukishima we see, where it's like they enjoy it for more than just like they enjoy volleyball for volleyball, not for the feeling it gives them and the friendships that they make. Like, they enjoy volleyball as a sport, as what it is. Nishinoya never had that enjoyment of volleyball. He liked it, and there were things he was good at, and there were things he enjoyed, but he didn't enjoy volleyball in the same way. And I think that it was pretty obvious that's how it was in the manga. So I'm not upset that he's not playing volleyball anymore. I thought he could have been because he was good, but just because he's good doesn't mean he has to keep playing. So let's get that out of the way first. But that was really good. And, you know, it's interesting because it's, you know, you see more of Nishinoya's idea where you know, they live in the country, and for them, they think that, you know, there's this great line where he says, Tokyo, huh? With the bullet train, it's just zip, and you're there. And they're talking about how you can make anything like that. And, you know, Daichi says, I think our little juniors had entirely too much zip going on. And we see, again, what's his name? Ishida-sensei say, for the rest of your lives, you can do anything you set your mind to. And that's kind of like the point of this chapter, is that when you have that conviction, you put in the work, you know, it's like a zip, and you do it. And it's so good. Furodate is such an insane lunatic. And then you get the coach of Shiratorizawa with a great another banger line from this man. This man exists to just feed us 10 out of 10 lines, right? But no matter how much we do or how good we are at doing it, for us, there's no such thing as good enough. Right? And we get more of what this match is doing, where it's showing, you know, Hinata is good. Like, he's learning a lot. He's learned a lot. He's really good at all different aspects of volleyball. That was something I talked about in the thing I did for the last chapter, where it's the manga's taking a lot of time to show Hinata's not just good at one aspect of volleyball. He's doing all these other little tiny things that add up to all these different skills and show how much he's progressed as this well-rounded player past just being quick, right? Which is really good, because then he's also quick and can jump high, and it creates this really good player. Then you get Chad Bokudo with a chest bump, right? Like, and then Miyu goes for the dump. And something I really liked is that Miyu goes for the dump, and you see Kageyama's the one reaching for it, who's closer than anyone else, right? Like, his middle blocker wasn't even going, and Kageyama's up there. He's, like, in there, you know? Which is a really good touch. That's very good. And you get more smug Haikyuu faces. One of the best aspects of the manga is anytime someone makes a smug little bitch face, it's someone else. And then you even see, you know, Hinata was there to get Ushijima, but even as good as he is, he's not, you know, he's not Ushijima, right? He's not that good. And then you get Kageyama does a net serve. It bounces up. And, look. So Hinata goes there for, and this is even more of what we see about him being a decoy and him being so good at the idea of, like, smashing their expectations and setting up one thing and doing something else, right? Because he goes for the spike and they jump, and he goes for the spike on two. Right, quick, too. So he forces them to jump because they're like, wow, because generally you would go for that, right? You're there so fast that they have to jump for it, otherwise they just don't get it. And so they jump for it, and he has like, you know, and sets it, which we've already seen him set. But now he sets out of a spike position in midair. Bananas. Crazy man. Okay? And then you get Hinata's line that being good means being free. Right? And, you know, you see Nishinoya's wearing a shirt that says put your soul into it. And there's a reason. It shows Nishinoya there. Like, Nishinoya is free, right? He was good at volleyball, but that's not what he wanted to do. Right? He's free because he's able to go live his life and be good at all these different things and explore the world as he wanted. He doesn't have to just do the one thing. And, you know, for Hinata, what being good means is it's freedom on the court. Because Hinata wants to be good at volleyball. He wants his life to be volleyball. So he has this freedom on the court, which, you know, have you ever watched people who are really good at a video game? And it looks like they're... And I think this is a great example because, you know, everyone, you know, I would assume 90%, 95% or more of the people who watch these chapter reviews have played a video game. And have you ever played a video game and, like, you watch the people who are really fucking good at it, and they're just, like, styling on the game, and you're, like, struggling to get through it, or you can't beat a part, and they're, like, doing it no hit, or, like, you know, you watch people do, like, Mario, and they're, like, doing it all backwards, doing, like, the back jumps. And you're just like, how the fuck are you even real? Like, you're just stunting on this game, doing whatever you want, and still doing better than me. You know, you see, like, crazy shit happen, you know, where, you know, in other games, people do things that are crazy and ridiculous, and you're like, that's, you know, technically not correct, but you're doing it. And it's because the level is so high that they have this freedom in what they want to do because they are good enough to allow for that freedom. And that's what's going on here, is that Hinata is free on the court to go for a spike and then set up for, you know, a set, because not only is it that he's good, but he's gotten good enough to where he's now playing. Because, you know, if he had tried to do that in high school, his team probably wouldn't have jumped for it. But it's because now he's at this level where he's gotten so good that he's playing with good players, and they're all good. And that's when the true freedom comes in, is that they're all able to do all of this together through their skill and through the skills that they've honed and put effort and time into. And it's really, really fucking good. So I love this Haikyuu chapter. It was fucking great. That being said, let's move on, because I have a lot of chapters to talk about. I've already been going for like 20 minutes, and this is probably going to be even longer than that in the actual video, but I do have more I want to talk about, because, again, Jump was really good this week, and I like weeks where I have the entire magazine. Even though it is more work for me, it's nice, because there's a great variety of manga. So let's get moving. Let's talk about MHA. We see Redestro, and there was a really good moment I liked. It was just like a funny joke where they're talking about, you know, heroes are coming, and you see Redestro go from smiling to like his stress thing, that I really enjoyed. And then we see more Kaminari, which, by the way, you know, to talk about last week a little bit, just a short little blurb. Okay, look, Kaminari is a Chad. He's fucking cool. He definitely fucks Jiro on the side. That happens. It was proven to happen. We got good, legitimate, extra good payoff on things that happened in the school festival. Just proving that it is the best arc in MHA so far, without a doubt. It is bananas. Okay. So, that's really most of what I have to say for last week's MHA. So let's talk about this week's. So, something that I really liked was that we see more, you know, we see all the pro heroes, you know, Midnight's looking hot, you're going to see Cool Woodman, but then we see more of the classes, right? Like, we see, or more of the high school, right? We see a Class 1B, two Class 1B people. And something that I really like about the way it uses these Class 1B people is, or the high school people, is you can see, like, you remember how I mentioned that they used a lot of the previous students for rescuing people, but that was it, because they do want to keep them out of harm's way. This time, the students we saw are people who have these longer range, very safe quirks that can be used to help, but also keep them out of danger, right? And that's good and right. Like, they wouldn't want to put these high school students in legitimate danger, so they would take, you know, most of them do something that's not dangerous, and then the ones that they do have to put on the front lines are ones with safer quirks who can do things without having to actually get in the fray, right, and potentially get hurt. And they even, you know, have the first years kind of stand down a little bit. Really, really nice. So then we get to the real shit in the chapter. The real Kino, raw, goat, swag shit. So, we see Hawks. We see, you know, Hawks and Twice, which we saw at the end of the last chapter. And look. Twice is such a goat. Like, he's such a king, dude. Because you see him and he's, you know, he gets upset because for him, everything always turns into this, you know, it's like it always becomes bad, and his, you know, he gets betrayed or his friends die, things like that. And he felt bad because, you know, he got, like, it's happening again for Twice, right? He led Chisaki to the League of Villains, and Chisaki killed someone and took someone's arm. He led Twice, and Twice betrayed them. And so, Twice feels like legitimate, you know, he's upset about that. And then, you know, Hawks even realizes, like, Twice isn't bad. Like, Twice cares about his friends. Twice is a good person. He's just in the League of Villains. And so, you know, Hawks even like, you know, all, like, once you go through jail, I will help you, you know, start over in life. And fucking, oh my god, Chad Twice, which, you know, Twice says, like, there's a great spread. Hawk's like, I don't want to fight you, you know, Hawks respects Twice because Twice is a good person. But Twice says, he's okay with dying for the League. For him, it is all about the League. And, you see Dabby running over there. And he says, it's not Twice's fault. It's the hero's fault. The heroes are to blame. And what I love about that is that there's even this idea now of, the heroes are the reason, Hawks did not the most honorable, hero way of going about it, right? He pretended to be a villain, probably did some bad things, even though he probably did what he could to make up for him, he still had to be a villain for a little bit and join the League of Villains. And so there's this interesting idea of now, well, Hawks was not being a good villain or a good hero, right? But Twice is doing everything for his reasoning, and you could even argue that Twice's reasoning is good, Twice is a friendship man, and that's good, and I like that. I don't even know what I'm saying. I like Twice, but I think it was really good, and it's great because I think Twice had, Twice and Shigaraki, right, in the Villains Uprising arc, had probably the best character arcs. And now we're just I'm just going to keep making Twice, the best member of the League of Villains, continually. And it's all right, Hori, you gotta calm the fuck down, because he's so good. And, Hawks is dead, because Dabby's going to show up and murder him. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed that, even Hawks did care about their friendship, right? He didn't want to just fuck over Twice because, they were friends. It was just that, he kind of had no option, and Twice has already dedicated himself to the League of Villains, and so he's not going to just, join with someone, even if he is a friend, because he's already made his allegiance to the League of Villains, and that's where he stands. It's really good. I thought it was a really, really good chapter. That being said, let's talk about Kino Clover, actually. So, first of all, I should say I really liked Black Clover last week. I love the Black Bulls. I think Black Clover is at its best when the Black Bulls are together. So, it was great. I liked that when Gauche gets stabbed, we see, Gauche gets stabbed, and then it causes Asta to kind of get angry for his friends, go into this cool mode. And we get more of that, right? Asta's looking all cool. He's all scary. This man is one of the three possessed by the strongest devils, and Asta supposedly isn't stronger than them, but then we see that Asta's a fucking big Chad. Some good stuff with, I forgot her name, but the cutie transformation magic lady who felt like she's upset because she couldn't do anything to help Gauche. And, I don't think Gauche is going to die here. I don't think Black Clover would do that. I think it could, and if Gauche died, I think it would be good. But I don't think it's necessarily bad if Gauche doesn't die, right? I think either way, he probably will. Well, I don't know. It depends if someone with healing magic shows up, but it was really good. I like that. Good art, again, in this fight. Really good. I think the devil powers, I really think that, I don't know, the devil shit's getting easier to see. I don't think it's just me seeing it better. I really do think that he's just drawing it better. And then we see Asta hurt him by being a big Chad man. And now this guy's angry, so now he's going to power up even more. And it's all good. I'm enjoying Black Clover right now. And I like when I can enjoy Black Clover, because it's not normally something I would say I enjoy. So anytime Black Clover is at a level where I can read it and be happy and be yeah, I'm enjoying reading Black Clover week to week, is really nice, because I liked Black Clover and then wasn't big on the Elf arc, which I don't know. And then, now I think it's starting to pick up again. And I think that there have been good chapters since the Elf arc ended, but these are the first two that have me yes sir, is what I like to see from my manga. So, take it what you will. I do think there was good stuff in Black Clover this week. Certainly better than some of the other stuff in the manga. I think last week's was better than this week, but I'm excited for next week now when we see his demon form, and I want to see how far these demon forms can go, because it gives us a glimpse of what Asta will look like when he fully goes into his demon form, which is kind of an interesting idea. So we'll see. That being said, that's it for Black Clover. So now let's talk about Kimetsu no Yaiba. Alright. I think I talked about the poison being bullshit. If not, the poison having like 20 things was a little bullshit. But you know, Inosuke and Zenitsu came back last chapter. I like them. Tanjiro stabbed himself. It's whatever. I didn't really have many thoughts on chapter 197, but 198 I kind of liked, and there's a reason for it. So I think that more than any other chapter, you know, we see, you know, it literally starts, and we see people praying, and then we get, wait, are they dead? Isn't that the old fireman who's dead? I don't know, actually. Okay, so we see, you know, Inosuke is doing his thing, Zenitsu's doing his shit, and there's like this really good level of, you really, like, I really got the feeling, at least reading this was like the last push. Like, everyone was like, you know, Inosuke already, from even last chapter, bleeding out of the mouth of his pig mask. You know, everyone's like dying. Wait, no, I'm pretty sure last chapter had a great page at the end of it, actually. Let me go back. I need to make sure. Last chapter ended, isn't that the one that ended? Yeah! Okay, so last chapter ended on a fucking goat page, which is, Muzen's like, I crushed them, but they won't die. They come back again and again. They get up over and over to buy time until dawn. Very good. I like that a lot. I always like, you know, hard work, friendship, effort, victory. You know, I always like the strong will, conviction, being able to get up, and that's how you win. And we see, like, this really is their last, like, push, you know? Everyone's coming in, doing what they can. We see Love Pillar comes back into the fight, so she's not dead. It really is just, you know, these three, for a large part of it, it was just these three. Which I like, because, you know, they're the three main, you know, characters. And then Muzan turns into a big scary demon boy with a mouth in his chest for some reason. Love Pillar comes back, rips his arm off, which was pretty awesome. And then, you know, Muzan's finally at the point where, like, dawn is breaking, you know, we see the sun coming up. It really is, you know, the end of this fight. And I thought that this chapter worked really well as, like, you know, I think a lot of people complaining about this fight and this arc that have been reading it weekly for a long time, it'll be better when you binge it. And I think that this chapter felt like a very good final push to the arc, right? It felt like this very good final push, you know, everyone giving the last that they have. Obviously, Tanjiro still has to do the 13 forms, right? I bet it has something to do with either using other people, right? Or it'll be, like, it'll either be using other people, or it'll be some shit he figures out here in the next 2 or 3 chapters, because, you know, again, we're, like, right fucking there, you know? So we gotta figure it out, but I do think it's, I mean, you know, we're really close. And this felt like this really good last push, you know, everyone was giving the last that they have to get dawn to break. And what the fuck happens when just had this little genius thought that this is what Gotoge is gonna fucking do. Dawn breaks, it doesn't kill Muzan, turns out he's immune to the sun, just like Nezuko was. And then now, Tanjiro's gotta kill him with the 13 forms, because everyone else gave everything they had, and it still wasn't enough. Yeah, that could happen, I hope it doesn't, but that, I could see that very well being the case. And I don't think people could really complain too much that it's bullshit, considering, you know, Nezuko's in the sun, so it's already been something that's happened. Whatever. I just don't see, you know, like, Tanjiro has to do the 13th form of the dance, and he hasn't done it yet, so it can't just end. That's just how it is. That being said, that's about all I have to say for Kimetsu no Yaiba. So next is Promised Neverland. I'm 90% sure, but let me check because I don't want to fuck up like I did last time. It is Promised Neverland. All right. Next is Promised Neverland. All right, so Promised Neverland. Good. I liked last chapter a lot, where it ended with everyone pointing guns at this man. I'm pretty sure that was the last chapter. I don't even remember. I like the shit with the mamas. Great line. The women are everywhere as he's running around. I respect that shit. We stand a misogynist. Let's go, Peter Ratchery. He does two things. He kills children, and he hates women. So my kind of man. And then we see Chad Duke Luvis. First of all, okay, look. He's not dead, right? And if you think that they're not gonna, it's not gonna be explained. There's literally, I thought he was missing. You're alive, Your Highness? Unintentionally, yes. And it shows him dying. So very clearly, we're gonna see how he's alive. At some point. Probably he'll say it to Sanju and Mujika after he saves him. Or wait, yeah, I think that's their names. I don't fucking remember. So, not worried too much about it. And, like, he fucking saves them. And, like, shows that, like, they're Chads. It was so good. I love it. Because, like, that is what Promised Neverland is all about. Right? Is this, like, you know, like, doing the right thing. Being a good person. Not trying to kill people. So, it was great. I love it. I liked it a lot. I'm a big fan of Promised Neverland. I enjoy a lot of the parts of the manga. And just when Rattri's done, it's not over. Because there's no way everyone's going to let Emma sacrifice herself for the new future, for their promise. So the manga's not done, I'm sorry, once Rattri's defeated here. But I really like the moment where it's like, you know, he's like, okay, if I kill Emma, the promise is void and their future will be destroyed. And like, yeah, that's true. It's true. So now he's going to go try to kill Emma, which is exciting because now, you know, either someone's going to come save Emma, but I think there is some level of, like, maybe she'll have to shoot Rattri, or, you know, someone else will come save her. I would like if it turned into this thing where, you know, maybe even she has to, even though, you know, the entire kind of idea of the manga is about, like, not betraying your ideals. It'd be interesting if she was forced to for Rattri. But that's probably not what's going to happen. Someone else is probably going to betray him for her, or something wild's going to happen. But I think that idea is kind of an interesting development of the situation, where now Rattri trying to kill Emma forces someone to do something more than just point guns at him. Like, someone's going to have to pull a trigger, right? Or Rattri is. And that's, like, really interesting. Because it definitely puts this new, like, it evolves the situation past just what it was and actually kind of makes, like, brings the theme into question. And I like that, actually. I think that's good. That being said, that's what I have to say for Promised Neverland. So now let's talk about, oh no, is it actually next? Oh no, it is. Okay, boys. I gotta mentally prepare myself to talk about this manga, because I need a second. So I want this to be my last big, long We Can't Study rant. I know it won't be. I know something else is going to happen to anger me, but I really don't want to come in every week and be like, hey, you know this bad manga that got terrible and literally no redemption for it, and I think these last two chapters have proved that. Also because I want to make a separate video about it, because, you know, Vinny wants the views. But I think that I don't want to just come here and rant every week about the same things and say, oh, this manga's terrible. But I think that We Can't Study has done worse than just, like, you know, like Black Clover, right? The reason I never really ranted about not liking parts of Black Clover is because at the end of the day, I liked it, and I didn't think Black Clover had done anything bad enough to where I had given up hope on the series, right? I would still give Black Clover like a 7 overall, and I still think it could very easily get back up to the 8 I would have given it before. I don't think, you know, I think sometimes series can go so far that they're beyond saving. I can think of a few moments. I don't really want to name a lot of them here because a lot of them are spoilery, but We'll talk about another moment in Zipman. But I think that there is just a moment where a series can do so much damage to its own reputation and to what itself is about and what it's trying to be as a story that I think it can actively destroy any goodwill left and make it to where the only thing that I would be excited about now is in the Sensei arc seeing her fat ass or, the fan service stuff, because I mean, obviously the art isn't bad, but the actual writing and quality of the series, I think, is damaged beyond repair. And the main reason for that, right, is purely because he's not sticking... We haven't talked about this in chapter reviews yet. He's not sticking with the Uruka route. He's now deciding to give all these girls arcs of their routes. And I was about to think... I thought it was going to be one thing, but it turned out to be even fucking worse. And we'll talk about why. So, first of all, we find out now... Okay, well, first of all, Uruka won, but in her timeline, we still see all the girls are all over Narayuki, right? They're still trying to, even though they gave up on him, they're all over him, which, whatever, I don't care. I hate it. But no, we should talk about the actual problem. So, it apparently all goes back to the fireworks that we saw. And whoever he was with on the fireworks is who he ended up with, which is some of the worst writing I might have ever seen in my life. But to really get into it, so the real thing about this chapter that made me angrier than the last don't get me wrong, whatever, this is 151. Chapter 150 was garbage. This chapter made me angrier. And so I mentioned that when Uruka confessed, right, it felt like Uruka confessed. If the other girls don't, it becomes this whole thing where he only picked Uruka because she confessed. And what do we find out? The only difference in this timeline, and I even mentioned it with, he didn't think, because people were like, oh, well, he's liked Uruka the whole time. Clearly he doesn't, because the only difference was that Uruka confessed, and he started thinking about Uruka in that way, right? And now what happens? In this timeline, Uruka just doesn't confess, right? She just doesn't confess. She just leaves. And now he has no feelings for Uruka, right? And now he has feelings for Ogata. And it's the most obvious, just there's no choice being made, right? There's no route unless somehow there's this magic route. The last route, right? Is just all the girls confess. He's all right, let me think about it. Or there's a true ending, right? As if it was a V end, but that's not going to happen. So the idea that the only difference was that he was with Ogata on the fireworks and then Uruka didn't confess makes it so that, okay, well, so if Uruka had confessed in the timeline he was with Ogata with the fireworks, would he have picked Uruka still? Just making it so that the only thing was that Uruka doesn't confess completely destroys any kind of real feelings, because it shows that he only picked Uruka because she confessed first and none of the other girls confessed, right? That doesn't prove anything. It's the only girl he looked at like that was the only girl who let him look at her like that. So there's no real romantic investment in this story at all. And if you want to do no romantic investment, that's fine. Don't do romantic investment. Don't end it like this. But when you... I'm so upset because it literally just proves what I was saying is right. And anyone who thinks I was wrong, anyone who thinks I'm wrong, you're stupid. I'm sorry. Specifically about this, because I've already been proven right by the series. Narayuki clearly didn't care for Uruka the whole time. If you said that to me in defense of him picking Uruka, you're wrong. Because that also proves that you missed my point. My point was never he picked the wrong girl. I've seen other people make that point. I don't make that point. My point was it wasn't handled well. And that there wasn't clear signs of him having feelings for Uruka. And what did the manga just prove? He never really cared for Uruka. So, it's so ridiculous and insane, right? It's just you're oh, well, he just liked all the girls. Okay. Have him pick one. Have him pick the most thematically relevant to the series. That's how you write. It boggles my mind. It's so terrible. And I don't want to rant on it that long, because the rest of this chapter was nothing. It was a comedy chapter that I don't care about at all. At all. It's so terrible. And that's really where a majority of my feelings on this chapter end, is at I don't care, I hate it. And it's completely the series' fault. So I have nothing more to say about garbage. You know, there are things maybe I could say, but there's nothing I really want to. So that's it for We Can't Study. I do want to make a video talking about it. I do want to make a video discussing it, but it won't be soon. Well, no, it might be soon, but especially once that video comes out, I'm not going to come in here and rant every week unless it continues to up how terrible it is. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm furious about the series, but I don't want to get worked up into this frenzy about it right now, because if I continue doing that every week, it'll just kill me, literally. So We Can't Study's bad. It's not doing anything good. And I think the series has officially gone beyond repair, to where I don't think it's possible for it to do anything. Like, it's impossible to do anything to make me be like, wow, that was good. Because everything already is compounded to a point where nothing it does can be good, because it's all coming after all the bad things that have completely destroyed the series. So, I hate it. It's bad. Let's move on to a good manga, though. Dr. Stone. So we had some good-ass Dr. Stone chapters. I'm glad that this lady on the boat, the announcer lady's on the boat, 'cause she's very hot. She's not the hottest girl in this chapter, though. Oh, my God. We'll talk about that in a second. But I really liked seeing the, you know, the crew and, like, the little things it gave them all, you know. Tsukasa's great. Gin is, like, one of the most entertaining characters in this manga. He will be in every arc because it's clear that that Boichi and the other guy just love Gin because he's so great all the time, always funny. We get Suika, who's also great. I love Chrome. You know, Kaseki's good. It's nice he's here. Kirisame, whatever. She's got good stuff. I hope she gets more. Kinro, Chadley cool glasses, man. Matsukaze, I already love as this funny samurai man. And Ginro's also great. And look, people are clowning on this spread of the boat in the water. This spread of the boat in the water is great. I don't care what you say. It's awesome. You could say, oh, well, it looks a little odd that it's like a real picture of the water and, you know, the things on it. But that's a style. Like, you know, there are other mangaka that do that kind of style, you know. For example, Asano Ino, who, you know, he might have written some things I don't like. He might have written Pun Pun, which I think is one of the worst manga to be big and to have people like it because its theme is inherently harmful. But, you know, I would never say the art in Pun Pun's bad, and Pun Pun uses that kind of style a lot, especially if you read Dead Demons Destruction, where it's the style of, like, it's like cute anime girls and, like, anime kind of aesthetic on top of these very realistic backgrounds. And it works really well. So I like the spread a lot. It's good. Like, you know, it's funny to clown on, right? I've seen some funny jokes of, like, a black and white, like, clip art on, like, a real, like, ocean and be like, oh my God, look, it's a Boichi's spread. But, like, no, it's a great spread. And I won't stand for it. And I think the reason it works so well is because it shows, you know, kind of a few things, right? Like, it does look different. But I think that helps to show, like, the difference of, like, the world that they're entering into, right? They're entering something completely different than what any of them are used to. And also, you see how vast the sea is and how, like, there's nothing to see other than the ocean and the clouds and the sky. Like, they're in a completely uncharted area, and it's completely uncharted, and we, not just because, you know, like, they don't know what they're gonna find in terms of, like, there could be people, there could be civilization, but, like, they don't have, like, GPS or cell phones or any kind of modern convenience that we have that make these islands charted. You know, I can go to fucking, you know, like, Europe now, and I have my phone with a map. But if you killed everyone in Europe and threw me there, saying there might be people, there might not, and there was no technology, well, I don't know what the fuck it's basically an uncharted island to me, you know? And so that's where they're going, and that's really cool. And even though Gin lived in America, so, like, yeah, he'll be able to speak English if they see people, it's very much not the same as what we see now. So I really like that spread. It's really cool, you know? And then we see Senku and Ryusui are having a fight because they, you know, he thinks it should take 70 days. Senku thinks it should take 40 days. Senku thinks that the crew is smart enough with him and they're talented enough that they could get there through the correct path. But Ryusui doesn't want to put the the stress on the crew. And look, I mention it all the time. Kohaku is so hot. People go, oh, I don't know how you like boy choosing women. Because I like hot ladies, okay? It's not complicated. And Kohaku is so good, okay? In this chapter. There's like the page where she's like on the table and just standing there. And like I like seeing this fight between Ryusui and Senku. I think it's really good, and it's very much like what Dr. Stone kind of has in it. And then we get they fight in poker, and they're in these cool suits. I love it. And then, Chad Ginn is like, I'm going to come in. I'll be on Ryusui's team. And it's like, you're a cheater. So then Kohaku's got to come in this nice dress. I like it. She's got tights. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But then also it's like we get this cool poker match. And like, I love poker. I'm so excited. Poker's so cool. As long as they play good Texas Hold'em. The only two types of poker I stand are one poker, specifically if Fukumoto's riding with Kaiji and Kazuya, and then Texas Hold'em. So I'm excited for the poker arc. I like poker a lot. I think it's a really fun game, and I'm excited for some Dr. Stone poker next chapter. It was a really good chapter. Not like my favorite chapter of all time or anything, but it was definitely enjoyable, and had some Kino Raw goat swag in it, and that's what I like from my Dr. Stone. So Dr. Stone continues to be fun week to week. Continues to keep me excited for what's going on. So yeah, I have Dr. Stone, my love out of 10. And the chapter 4 is really good too. Let's talk about Actage. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so I don't understand how this manga is so good. First of all, I gotta mention it every week we talk about it. I love Yonagi's Komodo dragon shirt. It's great. It's like fucking great. I love her Komodo dragon shirt. It's so funny. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. That being said, let's get into the actual real manga making. So, this chapter was good, as always. Actage is good. This wasn't like my favorite chapter. There was some good stuff in it, but I think, Actage is, it's back on the build, right? And I like it. And there's a lot of good stuff. First of all, we get to the end of the play, right? Like they finish the play, and then Chad Kuriyama decided to have the play end in the same way that Yonagi's play ended. Kuriyama. Okay, so they're talking about it. This is the performance, and he explains why. And what he says to the director, so Yamanoe is her name. But he says, the real demon you need to face isn't some enemy you concocted or the flames inside of you. But you need to forgive yourself for loving those things. And what we see is that, like, what it comes down to is that it's not, now we get two different views on the same play, two actually completely different interpretations of the same piece of media. And that we see that, Yonagi's play was about forgiveness and about overcoming this anger with the help of others. And now we get that, there's all this turmoil where you're fighting between your anger and your negative emotions, and then your kind of regret and how you know that those aren't good, or you don't want those. And so you're like, you hate yourself for those, but at the same time, you love that part of you, and you love the way that makes you act. And then it's, it's Princess Iron Fan isn't about anger, right? But it's the story of a woman who can't accept her own feelings. It gets a push from the Monkey King. It's a story of redemption. And what we see in that is that, that comes down to also, that's what's going on with Chiyoko right now, where she kind of needs to accept her own feelings about her as an actress. And, it's so cool. It's so good. Because something that it does is it doesn't just make both of them about the same thing, right? Even though at the start it was, I'm so angry. We thought it was going to be about anger. Now it's about something different, and it's these two interpretations of the same play, which is so fucking cool. And something it does that's so good is it saves the other group, right? Because when they make what happened in Yonagi's performance, the actual performance, right? It's mentioned is now Ogami looks good because it looks like what he did was what he was supposed to do. And now the two plays can stand side by side, right? You can have Yonagi and everyone's day one performance and Kuroyama's performance with everyone. And you get like the actual, like, it allows them to stand side by side as these two different plays, which is really, really cool. And I'm really excited to see it develop. Now that the play is done, how does Yonagi's next play or Kuroyama's next play? Like, where does the arc go from here? Is it going to skip to the plays being over? Like, what's it going to do? It was really good. It was really, really fucking good. Act H continues to be one of the, like, legitimately, I think one of, like, the most well-written things in Jump. It's phenomenal. It's insane. So that being said, that's most what I have to say for Act Age. Again, not that it's bad, great chapter. I'm excited for where it kind of goes from here. Because I don't think, I don't think this is the end of us seeing, even Kurama even says that, like, they're going to refine it more. I don't think this is the end of us seeing these plays, and I think there will be more in the end of the arc. Because, like, I don't think this arc is done yet. Both teams have talked about doing the play again, so I definitely don't think this is the end of the arc. I think there will be more, and I want to see what that more is. So, yes, sir. Let's go to the next manga we're going to talk about. Jujutsu Kaisen, boys. Oh my god, I forgot. Okay, so here's the first thing we have to say about last week's Jujutsu Kaisen. It introduced a very good lady. Very good lady. That's all I have to say for it. So this chapter, we finally get to see the girl have a fight. Which is nice. And it was good. It was a good chapter. I do like her fighting style. I like that she uses just like this tiny little hammer. I like the person she's fighting. It was a fun fight. She got her shit kicked in, which was pretty funny. Just like actually annihilated. And then we see other people come in, and it ends with like the Chad man from the arc where I forgot his name, but it's the arc where Yuji originally, like, they kind of find out about the guy who does like the human shit, the human curse shit. Is really nice, and I'm excited for him to fight because he's a fucking cool man. So we'll see what happens, but it was a fun chapter. I really have nothing to say about it. I mean, I could talk about how hot the lady was from the last chapter. The only thing I don't like about her is I don't like the front braid was a little weird because she had like a braid in like the front, and that was a little weird. But she has a big axe, very hot. I like her a lot. She's good. Show me more of her. And then I do wonder what it means at the end where it's like, is it okay for me to kill the non-black suits too? Because I think that's supposed to be the. I think what he means by that is the demon hunter or the cursed demon hunter. I don't fucking remember. Whatever the fuck they are. But yeah, no, it was a fun chapter. I liked it. I'm more excited for next chapter because I do really like this guy and I want to see him fight. Yeah, that's about all I have to say for Jujutsu. I really hate when I have nothing to say for Jujutsu, but I just don't this week, so whatever. What are you gonna do? Next manga is Chainsawman. Chainsawman. So, okay, to go to the last chapter, I really enjoyed that we see this lady was so strong, and this guy was able to make her just sit down just by showing up, was really cool. And they start fighting. And we see them fight, which is cool. And we see, like, her other little ladies fight. And, look, the girl who has Denji on the ground, something about when she was, like, puffing up the fire was really cute. She was, like, very cute. I liked it. But then we see Power. Continue to be good. Well, someone drops in her car, and it's funny to see her say, like, my car. And I love Power here, because she's like, she says, stay back or I kill her. And it's like, you see her realize, oh, yeah, and Denji. Like, she completely forgot. It was good. We even see this Chinese lady being nice to Power, because she knows Power's a hot lady. Everyone loves Power. But then Chad Shark Man. I love Shark Man. He's funny. He shows up, swims through the floor. And then, he's like, should I go chainsaw mode? And he's like, Denji, save your strength. Or save your blood. Then Denji steps on it. Oh! Yeah, so this is, Denji ended up stepping on the third nail of, like, the other, remember, there were the two nails from earlier, steps on the third one, gets literally crucified, and, like, he goes from, like, oh, I'm gonna get a crucifix, to just, like, murked. Like, hard murked. Which was, I don't know, I know it probably wasn't meant to be funny, but when you go from, like, Denji being, like, kind of a dumbass and be like, my body's moving into a crucifix position, to you turn the page and he's just, like, getting murdered by, like, bone demons was really funny to me. And then you see Chainsawman gets kicked in the chapter. So I liked it. You know, I'm excited to see the next chapter. I think this arc's kind of really exciting. I want to see, you know, I want to see Power do more. I want to see Denji do more. Sharkman's always great whenever he's there. I hope Denji rides Sharkman again. I think Chainsaw Man is just like a really fun manga every week, you know? Like, it's something where, you know, I mentioned it earlier, but I think Jump has like a lot of decent variety in it right now. And like, what I mean by that is like, you know, even though we have like a bunch of battle series, right? But when you compare like what I get from MHA or even Black Clover to something like Chainsaw Man, it's like Chainsaw Man's just a really fun ride, right? It's like a fun manga. I enjoy myself. I don't think Chainsaw Man's meant to be taken that seriously. You know, it's just like a fun little, I can read it, you know, relax, enjoy my 20 pages, just a fun, enjoyable manga. And so I think Chainsaw Man does its job really, really well, and I really enjoy it. Especially because after Chainsaw Man, I have to read a terrible, terrible manga that I would probably rather die than read another chapter of. Hopefully if it doesn't end soon, I'm gonna end it soon, because let's talk about Samurai 8. So Hachimaru decided to become God. He decided to reach Nirvana. He figured it out because Hachikaku, or no, not Hachikaku, what's his name? Nana whatever, came in. I was like, oh, and then Hachimaru disappeared. You know, he turned into Fudomyo, and then he took over the other bodies. And, you know, they even say, like, to discorporate's not to die, you know, and that, you know, he even discorporates at the end, and this whole thing of, he felt it because people live on through their, you know, desires and their will and strength or whatever, and they're even looking at, you know, they even say, oh, your possibilities are as infinite as the cosmos, and then what happens at the end of his chapter, boys? His heroism is infinite. He has the infinity symbol for his heroism strat. Fuck this manga, dude. Oh my god. Because then Hachimaru turns into one of the other clones. He saves Anne. And he's like, oh, I love Anne so much. Me simpy lady. Right? And he's saying that. He's like dying. He's discorporating, even though we know discorporating isn't dying. They're acting like he's gonna die. Well, no. I mean, you know, Anne's there, you know. And then his harem's infinity at the end of the chapter. We see, you know, Anne. We see Anne's brother, I'm pretty sure that is, and we see Hachimaru's dad. And it's just like this, like, bullshit needs to stop. Like, if you're gonna make this man have one of his stats be infinity, his heroism stat, in the fucking manga, please make this the last goddamn arc in this fucking manga. This is so terrible. I hate this, actually, with, like, a burning fucking passion. It's not good. I really don't like it. So, if we could please end this fucking manga, that would be phenomenal, I think. It's just not good. It's just not good. Like, I see what it's doing. I just don't even want to talk about it because it's not good. It's not well done. You know? And I know I said, okay, well, Samurai, you had 2 good chapters, so I'm going to let you be bad for a little bit. I'm not letting you be bad anymore. You're pissing me off with how bad you are. So, whatever. That's the end of Samurai 8. I hate it. No, sir, no, sir. So I didn't want to mention, I've previously been doing Yozakura Mitama, but ever since Mitama had that double chapter, now it's chapter 29 and Yozakura's 28. So I think I'm going to switch it now and do Mitama before Yozakura. And I switched reading it this week, so I read Mitama first. I just want to keep it consistent chapter-wise, where I go from biggest chapter to smallest chapter. So, you know, for example, even though Hunter x Hunter's been running a lot longer, when that comes back, I'll talk about Hunter x Hunter wherever it fits in chapter-wise. So, yeah. That being said, let's talk about Mitama Security Spirit Busters. So, this Mitama chapter was another one of the Edoichi chapters, which, you know, I think that's something, and it's hard for me because I don't think I've read, like, a gag manga like this before. Like, I've seen 100 episodes of Gintama, and, you know, you don't know when you read something like, or when you watch something like Gintama, like, what's actually in the manga and what's not. But I feel like this is, you know, common gag manga thing, where you have these characters that are, you know, recurring gag characters will show up for a chapter. So this was an Edoichi chapter, and it was enjoyable. I liked it. Because, you know, what's great is, as the cast gets bigger, we see more things. So now we see Edoichi, who's stalking her, and now he's some crazy Monkey King, Lion King man, which was funny, and got really funny at the end of the chapter, but, he's, like, running around as a furry. It's a furry! He's just a furry, and it's funny. And he's following him, and then we see, you know, he's being followed. I love how he's just holding the plants. Like, he's not even holding them in front of his face. He's just holding them, acting like he's hiding behind him. We see Chad Fishman. And there's some funny shit in it. Like, you know, everything about the Fishman is great. And in this chapter, it was so funny. Because he kind of goes to stop him, gets scratched, and then starts just kicking the thing and yelling at him, and gets bit. And the panel of, like, him being held in the mouth and he's just, like, lying there dead is so fucking funny. And then he throws himself in the water. Or no, he gets thrown in the water. And I love when he gets thrown in the water and it is like a real fish. It's so funny. And then it got really funny because then, you know, Mitama just fucking, like, you know, fucked him up. He just slammed him into the ground and knocked the spirit out of him. And okay, so this reminded me, because I wanted to talk about it. The last chapter was so fucking great, where it was like, Mitama was like, I don't have a dark past. And then the guy comes with his dark past, and so something that was, I assumed, and I would have brought it up anyways, but it was confirmed. I want to get the guy's name right, but that, when the guy brings up whatever that character was, that TZX, that Mitama made the manga of in his youth. That was actually a character that the mangaka had made in his youth. And I assume that because it had Goku in it. And, you know, it definitely looked like something only a kid could have made. So I assumed that it was, you know, he made it as a kid and then just put it in his manga. But it was nice to see confirmation he did. That was really funny. I enjoyed that a lot. And so, yeah, and there was a funny line where, like, Mitama's just standing there stony-eyed, and she's like, hey, how long are you going to be embarrassed about that old video? Because of the video at the end of the chapter, which last week's Mitama was one of my favorite chapters of that week. It was fucking hilarious, but then he saves him, and then you see the Fishman, who's in, like, his in-between state, and the chapter ends on a goddamn Lion King joke. And I'm still mad about it. So it ends on... He says, the Fishman, my funny Fishman says, what do spirits and lion musicals have in common? And the guy goes, spirits and lion musicals, I'll bite. What do they have in common? No worries for the rest of our days. And what I love is, like, they're both standing there like they told the best joke. And Mitama and Rina Hayes are both just, like, not even phased. And, like, the fact that, yeah, they're, like, losing their shit. And, like, they're, like, acting like they told the best joke of all time. And Mitama and Rina Hayes are just, like... It's so funny. I really like Mitama. It's definitely growing on me the more I read it. It's one of my favorite things to jump right now to read week to week because it's just really funny. It's like really hit its stride and it's really enjoyable to read. So Mitama was fucking great. I enjoyed the chapter a lot. It was super fun. That being said, let's go to Yozakura Family because that's also a good manga we should talk about. So, I didn't talk about it. I liked last week's chapter a lot. I liked the whole angle of Taya was back, and there was the lady who, Ayaka, who was, like, you know, in love with Taya and Mutsumi, and had been all over Mutsumi, so now how to get all over Taya and get her Tayo fix. Then decided to train Taya, became a cute maid, and was training him at home. And then, I wanted to mention it, because... we see buff as fuck Tayo in the bath. Like, actually fucking jacked. Like, this man is huge. When he, like, punches the wall and then grabs Ayaka from the bomb. And it was funny because, you know, the last joke ended on, like, a cheating, you know, the last chapter ended on, like, a cheating joke, right? Where he's, you know, Kyoichiro thought that Taya was cheating and was going to use the stomach splitter on him. And then this chapter was all basically a long cheating joke where we see Taya was coming back late. And basically the whole idea in the chapter, which, look, I was so happy because, like, he shows up, you know, and instantly a blanket drops on him. And I was, like, hoping, oh, I hope it's, you know, Mutsumi dropped the blanket. And he is. And we see she's making tea. And she even mentions, like, Kyoichiro's favorite tea. They're out of it. And it's funny because, you know, he's getting called and he's staying out late. And she's like, oh, I sense he's cheating. And so they keep the entire first bit of the chapter is, you know, she's like, oh, Tayo's cheating. And Mutsumi's like, no, I trust Tayo. And so, you know, she keeps saying, I trust Tayo. It's nothing. It's nothing. And then they go to buy some tea at a cafe. And she walks in and sees Tayo with her. And she just, like, walks away. And look, the little panel of her just laying on the couch dead is really funny. But she even still kind of believes him. Kyoichiro hears and decides to just murder him. And he comes back. And I love the joke where he's like, let's have a talk. Holding this, like, I don't even know what it is. It's like a little spinny drill murder weapon. And then you find out that Tayo's just being a good boy. And he's trying to get Kyoichiro tea to thank him. And didn't want to tell anyone because he didn't want them to know. And what I love about it is that, like, it was such a nice thing that it literally broke Kyoichiro. And, like, he didn't know what to do and just fell over dead. And the page of Mitsumi going, I trust you, is so good. Like, Yozakura family is so good, actually. I like it so much. It's so enjoyable. Like, every week, I just enjoy reading it because it's such a, like, a good, fun series. It's insane. I love Yozakura. It's so good. And, like, you know, a large part of, I think, the core of the series, again, comes from, like, Tayo and Mutsumi's relationship. I know I say this every time, but, like, they're, like, the thing I'm most invested in this series. And I don't really know why, but I think it's just done enough to me where it's, like, you know, Mutsumi's really cute, and, you know, there's been enough good moments between the two already that their relationship is, like, the core of the series. And so, like, chapters that kind of play off that are, like, really, really good. And, again, I like the family aspect and the way that, like, Tayo fits into it. So, I definitely enjoy Yozakura a whole bunch and think people should give it a read if you're not. It's a super fun manga. This chapter was super good, super entertaining, wholesome at the end. You know, a lot of what I want. I do want Yozakura kind of to, you know, I mean, okay, a big arc just ended, so we do need some of these smaller chapters, but I do want, like, another arc like the last one, but longer. And I think we could, like, Yozakura could really blossom into, like, a really, really good manga as it keeps going. But now that we're done with the two very good super new manga, let's talk about the two not good new manga. Starting with Zipman. So, I don't have feelings on Zipman anymore. I don't care. There was so much shit in this chapter where I was, like, reading it and I was like, oh my god, wow. Imagine if this was done well, right? Like, imagine if this had time and build up. You know, China coming in to fight was cool. I liked, you know, like, I would have liked the line where she's like, go and defeat them, Zipman. And he's like, yes, sir, and walks off, you know? Again, the art is good. And the fact that now he has to fight his brother, you know, he has to fight Koshiro. And they have these big-ass swords. It's like, it could have been such a cool moment in this manga. But it obviously got canceled. And it obviously is just ending. I mean, yeah, I just think it could have been so good if it had the build-up. And it, you know, then he's like, I'm going to go kill China. You know, why is Zipman? I'm going to go fight him. It's like, who the fuck cares anymore? Like, you know, I mentioned it with Weekend Study, but Zipman is the other manga that, like, you know, outside of just always being bad, because I enjoyed Zipman a lot at the start, Zipman got to this point where I think it got so bad, and the skip it did just made me, like, it reached a point where it's like, the series was just telling you, like, you don't have to care about me anymore, so why do I care? So I don't think Zipman can redeem itself because it's ending so soon, and it's so clearly canceled that, I don't think the series really has any grounds to stand on in terms of anything. And the fact that Zipman probably got canceled and maybe the next manga we talk about didn't is very upsetting to me, because it definitely should have been. And we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, no, I don't like this at all. Zipman blows his cock. And it's sad because I do still think the art is good, but manga's canceled, so it doesn't matter. Hopefully he comes back and doesn't get canceled next time. That's all I can say. All right, let's go to Agravity Boys. Which I don't even care. Like, you know, Hot Springs chapter is terrible. This chapter is terrible. I, don't even want to talk about this manga anymore. The whole joke is, you know, we know that, well, I thought there was going to be, because, you know, at the start, it was, we see this guy, you know, we see, what's his name? Geralt spreading his ass and doing something, and they're like, oh my god, it's some weird sexual thing. But then we find out, no, it's, actually for his hemorrhoids. So I thought the whole joke was going to be that, you know, we think it's one thing, you know, it looks like one thing, and this guy believes him, and it turns out he's right. But then it just turned into, no, it's all, you know, he's being a massive maniac sex fiend. And, it's just and then they're like, oh, he's such a terrible person. And he's like, you know, Gerald's being a big fucking, you know, horny sex deviant. And this guy's like, oh, I believe him. And then we get at the end, this god is like, oh, humans are so entertaining, which I'm surprised he thinks they're entertaining from this. But he's like, as a reward, I'll invite them to space's #1 pleasure district on the planet Alesta, where they can pick up girls to their heart's content. And that's gonna be the next chapter. Oh boy. Oh fucking boy. I'm so excited, dude. Unbelievably excited for a terrible manga. Like, I don't care. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's unbelievable. So yeah, I don't want to talk about this manga. That's it. Don't read it, Gravity Boys. That's it. Now let's talk about the 3 new manga, because I have a lot to say for each of them. So, next is Undead Unluck. Alright, so I want to preface Undead Unluck, and the next 3 with saying, you know, even though technically Undead Unluck's only on Chapter 9, and then Guardian of the Witch is only Chapter 7, I actually want to kind of talk about how I feel about them all as a whole now, as well as just the new chapters. So I'll definitely be going into that a little bit more with these 3, because I think my opinion developed on them all a little bit more than I kind of thought at the start, and I want to talk about that, because there is, I think they're each kind of, well, I think 2 of them are coming into their own and are kind of getting me excited for them, and one of them is boring, and I don't like it. So, okay, so let's start with Undead Unluck. So, I actually am really enjoying Undead Unluck now. I like this chapter a lot. I enjoyed seeing some of their powers, right? We saw the big robot boy, and we saw that obviously the two of them were about to kill each other, which was obviously the person who said, stop this now, the #1s. Unpower, whatever, unfriendship or whatever, some shit, it's probably unfriendship, and I'm gonna hate him, because, you know, he almost killed her. And then we see this book, Apocalypse, who gives them all these quests, which is kind of cool. We see, you know, all these, little thingies that wants them to do, and then they get the thing, and they find out that they have to go on these quests and capture negators and do all these bad things, and they're like, well, it's not good. But then we find out that what they're doing is for the greater good, right? That they get these rules added and these bad things. They have to intervene to help people on Earth. And then we find out that they want to kill God. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I stand series where we kill God. I always enjoy that. I always like killing God. It's always fun. So, you know, that was the most exciting part for me of the chapter. And then I like, you know, Chad Undead Man is like, what's the hardest thing you have? And then he has them go with, you know, Unluck Lady and the Chinese guy. And that was fun. I enjoyed that. That was like a fun little ending to it. But, you know, I think Undead Unluck has turned into this thing where after the fight in the last chapter that ended, which I enjoyed, right? And there were parts of that fight I thought were actually pretty good. I'm kind of excited for Undead Unluck now. I think the story has a lot more potential than I originally gave it. And I'm curious to see it develop, because I think as it started to go and it started to kind of turn more into something we understand, I think it's turning more into something that I personally am enjoying. So, you know, I mean, we have to see how it develops from here, but Undead Unluck has me excited. It's not my favorite of the new 3, but it's very clearly my second favorite. It's something that I don't want to get canceled just yet. Like, you know, I imagine Zipman will get canceled at the end of Volume 2. Hopefully. I hope Agravity Boys, but Agravity Boys will probably go for 3 volumes, maybe 4. Okay. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited for Undead Unluck. I want to see it go, and I don't want to get canceled like just yet, like just at like the 1 or 2 volume mark, because I want to see where the story progresses from here. I want to see if it can really turn into its own as something that's enjoyable and entertaining to read on like the level of, you know, where Mitama and Yozakura I enjoy every week. So that's that. Next is Mashle. Whew. Next is Mashle. Let's go. So, it seems like the general consensus from people I talk to, which is very good, is that Mashle is fucking great. Let's talk a little bit about some of the Mashle things that I love. So, first of all, the Quidditch chapter is really funny. As always, Mashle's funny. Who would have thought? It was really good. I enjoyed the Quidditch chapter. And now we get to see some funny shit. So, this chapter starts, and there's the crazy Quidditch captain, and then the cute lady. And they're like all, you know, he's like, we need to practice, we need to do Quidditch. And the cute lady is like, hey, you know, we can study together. And she's, you know, being like a little cutie. And Mashle's just like completely ignoring him, you know, he doesn't want to do anything. And he just turns to his one friend, he's like, dog, help me out, please. And he says, like, I love Mashle's word choice. I'm sorry. I assume that, you know, it's a similar kind of word choice in Japanese. If not, the translator is just giving him this word choice. But, like, you know, pal is such a funny word, and it, like, fits the kind of character he is. So, you know, maybe that's to the translator's credit, but I still feel like I should bring that up since we are reading the, you know, the English version of the manga. But, yeah, no, so I love Mashle. And then, you know, his friend's like, no. He's like, traitor. Mashle's so funny. And then, it's so funny because he comes up, he's like, mind if I... He's like, you know, you seem to be having fun. And Mash is just like, no fun here. Because he's not having fun. He wants to kill himself. I love it. He's so funny. And then he's like, you want to do something funny? And Mash is like, hide and seek? Like, who is this man? I love Mash so much. He's so funny. And then, you know, he takes his friends and it becomes a friendship thing. Which is great because... Like, what I liked about it is, like, now obviously Mash has the reason to fight for the silver coins. But he showed up already for his friends, right? Like, he's already showed up to save his friends. Because we know he's a good man. He's a good friendship boy. There was some good art in this chapter. And what I like is, you know, Mash is so cool when he goes to punch him, gets thrown to the ground. And then we see him literally grab a root out of the fucking ground. With his muscles. Because he's the strongest man alive. And I think right now Mashle, because, you know, early on you can't rely just on comedy, I think. You have to have some more serious... You have to kind of get people to care about your characters through some of the more, like, serious kind of stuff. And then you can start to rely back on the comedy more. And Mashle already has, like, kind of a more serious premise. But it is very much a series rooted in its comedy. I think Mashle is, like, handling the two sides really, really well. Like, it's super good at handling both aspects of it. In a way that I think just makes it really entertaining to read. So, you know, I really, really enjoy Mashle. I really think it's a really entertaining series that I give a lot to. And I think that's something that, you know, when it started, I was like, yeah, this is kind of fun. And just the more it goes on, like, every week, like, the more I like Mashle. Because I think that, like, it hasn't had a bad chapter yet. Every chapter continues to be entertaining or have good, like, serious moments. And so, Mashle's great. Easily my favorite of these 3 new. And I definitely like it more than Zipman or Gravity Boys. So... I like Mashle a whole lot. Super Kino series, so I give it a lot of, you know, credit for that. And I think that it's something that people should kind of, I don't know, maybe pay attention to more. Just like, yeah, Mashle's really good. Really, really fucking good. Now we can talk about Guardian of the Witch. Witch. I said witch. Ha 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 ha. That joke was funnier than anything. That joke was better than anything that happened to Guardian of the Witch. So, Guardian of the Witch, kind of boring. Kind of poopy stinky. I kind of don't like it. I kind of think it's just not good. I think it could be, but as of right now, it started as something that I thought had a lot of promise, and now it's developed into something that I think is very middle of the road, very medium. Not to say that I don't think, obviously, there could be good things to come out of it, but as of right now, I think it's very much something that's not enjoyable, and I definitely think it'll get canceled. I do want to say, though, I like this cool top hat man that showed up at the end of the chapter. He seems like the cool mentor character who's going to show him and help him out and teach them how to live their lives, but he's cool. I like his top hat. I like his syringes. That being said, I think Guardian of the Witch as a whole is just something where it had like I would say the first 2 chapters are really, really good. And I think since then it's just like, I don't even want to say dropped, but it hasn't continued, like, because a good first chapter, as good as you can have of a first chapter, you need the shit after to continue to be good, right? Like, you can't just have a good first chapter, because a good first chapter can only be so good. It's about continuing to ramp up the quality as you go. And so I think that, Guardian of the Witch just hasn't really done anything since its first few chapters, and it hasn't continued to be good since, like, chapter 3. And I think because of that, like, it's just starting to kind of wane off, and it's not continuing to build on itself and continue improving as a manga. Like, already we see from, or not that Mashle's improving, but that Mashle's continuing to be good and funny, and, like, continuing to have, like, better and better chapters in a way that, like, Guardian of the Witch is, like, I would say my favorite chapter is probably 2 or 1, and almost every other manga I can think of that, like, is newer that continues to be good, the first chapter is nowhere near the best. Like Mitama, first chapter is not the best. Yozakura, first chapter is not the best. Even Zipman, I'd say the first chapter isn't the best. Mashle, first chapter is not the best. Undead Unluck, the first chapter is not the best. So when your first chapter is your best chapter, and since then it just kind of isn't as good, then, like, people just kind of stop caring, right? Because that first chapter, new manga, wears off quickly, and then it's just, okay, well, what you're giving me isn't good, so why am I interested? And so I think that, like, that's where my problem kind of lies with Guardian of the Witch right now. Not that I don't think, maybe a new character could kind of freshen things up and it could start to be really cool again, but it's definitely my least favorite of these 3, and I definitely think it is not going to stay good. So we'll see where it goes from here, but that's how I feel right now on it. Yeah. So that's it for those. Let me go to awards, and then we'll end this episode of the chapter reviews. That's right, I wanted this one. Okay. Alrighty, boys. So let's talk about 3 favorite spread of the week, and then I'll let y'all go. So to start, my 3 favorite manga of the week were, in this order, number 3 was One Piece. Great chapter. I already talked about it. I loved it. We're out of the Oden flashback. It was cool. Had a great ending. I love Luffy. He's awesome. Oda makes good manga. Knows how to create a cool moment. Then there was 2 was MHA, which I really, really liked. A lot of really good stuff in it. Super enjoyable chapter. It was great. My favorite, though, was Haikyuu. Because Haikyuu is, like, mind-bogglingly good sometimes. And, like, it's crazy to me how good this manga is. So, 1 was Haikyuu. My favorite spread of the week, I want to give it to 1, but I want to bring up a couple others. So, some honorable mentions, I'll say some of them first. And I think as I say some of these, my choices get narrowed down. But honorable mentions go to the One Piece one I mentioned. That's probably my least favorite spread in these honorable mentions. Not that it was bad, but I just think that spread is really good for, like, the bottom half of it. Like, the first half was okay, but it was the bottom half of the spread is kind of what made it, ooh, banging. The Dr. Stone spread was really, really good. Fucking anyone who says it's not. The Haikyuu, there was a Haikyuu spread. where it's the spread from the end of the chapter. It says being good means being free. Really, really good. A lot of things I really like in that spread. But I had to give my favorite spread this week to the one from MHA, where Hawk says, I don't want to fight you. And Twice says, like, well, good for you. Pops out. It was so cool. There's, like there was so much emotion shown in that spread. From Hawk's original thing, to seeing Twice's, like, pain, to then Hawk's being upset that he has to fight Twice. Like, it was a really good spread. I love the way it's laid out. I love the big, what do you call it, box for the text. For Twice's text. The outline on it super bold and, like, crispy. Twice is super cool as he starts. Anytime Twice spreads out is really good. There's a lot of good stuff about it that I really enjoyed. So that was my favorite spread. I just think there was, like, it was, like, the little touches in it that really made it good. Like, it flowed really well for a spread that had, like, multiple panels. So that's where we stand on those. Again, you know, next week's chapter review is going to be Sunday on Twitch. I'm going to start it at noon. I'm going to read the chapters. I'm going to give my review. If you don't want to watch it on Twitch, you're busy, or you want to see just a more condensed version as well, it'll still go up to YouTube. It'll be very similar. I think probably less editing. But also be a very, very similar experience. You know, maybe some differences. Like, maybe you'll see chat pop up on screen. You know, if someone follows or something, you'll see that happen. I'll try to cut those out, but, you know, sometimes you maybe always can't. But that's what's going on next week for those. So if you want to tune in live to me reading the chapters and make sure that I mention something, or if I say something wrong, you can correct me there live. That being said, don't tune into the chapters and then not watch the videos, because I like getting those views. I'm kidding. But yeah, so that's happening next week. Again, follow me on Twitter if you want to see more of my streams. Or more of when more news, more me talking about manga, more news on when I stream. If you want to see more of my streams, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/VindyBondo. Sub to the Weeb Club, you know, all the usuals. But besides that, really, thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, guys. Like, it's kind of, you know, I'm not as big in buying into this coronavirus panic as I think a lot of people are. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. But, you know, it is, you know, I want you all to stay safe, you know, so stay safe, you know, wash your hands, be hygienic, take care of yourselves. I want you all to be safe. So don't die on me. You know, and I hope that I'll try to make more videos, because I know a lot of people are kind of stuck in their homes right now, you know, no school, works are getting canceled. I know my work's canceled. So, yeah, I want to create some stuff maybe where, as you're stuck at home, you can watch my videos and just enjoy, you know, talk about manga. So yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you guys next week. Adios.